It's a beautiful day. You're here. We have a show packed with information and entertainment, ready to share with you. Smile and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. See you on the other side of this break.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, July 10. CARICOM heads of government have put measures in place to fast-track the full implementation of the Single Market and Economy, CSME. Among the strategies is a special meeting of CARICOM heads to be held in Trinidad and Tobago in November this year. Prime Minister and CARICOM Chairman Andrew Holness says a Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on the CSME will hold quarterly meetings starting in Barbados this September to give urgency to the implementation process. Mr. Holness says leaders have also committed to measures to support a competitive single market. These include an investment policy and investment code, an incentive regime, an integrated capital market, and securities legislation.
As leaders, we expect that these matters will be ready for full adoption at the 40th meeting of the conference in July 2019. These mechanisms will enable strong support measures for a successful CSME.
In the meantime, Mr. Holness says the regional body is determined to make the mechanisms within CARICOM work by taking decisive action.
I am resolved as the chair to ensure that we take action. We must get things done to make a difference. We are resolved to now begin to implement the decisions we make to improve the perceptions, especially amongst our youth.
The CSME is an integrated development strategy that's intended to benefit the people of the region by providing more and better opportunities to produce and sell goods and services and to attract investments. The Early Childhood Commission has launched a program to reduce cognitive learning challenges among children at that age group. The Jamaica Brain Builders program was launched on Friday. It involves spending $540 million to establish 126 Brain Builder centers across the island. The Early Childhood Commission ECC will have direct responsibility for these centers.
This main objective is to ensure that all Jamaican children get the best start in life in the first 1,000 days by attending to their health, nutrition, development, stimulation, social protection, which is protection against poverty, child protection, which is protection of their safety and security, and early intervention, which is the identification of children who have special needs.
Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid says the ministry will continue to monitor and provide further support to the ECC's program. The Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport is working to finalize a policy and regulatory framework this year that will safeguard children in sport. Portfolio Minister Olivia Grange says a task force has been established to monitor and evaluate policies that will see to the overall health, nutrition and protection from abuse of child athletes. She says sports personnel are being trained to ensure positive outcomes.
We must ensure that children in sport are not harmed in any way, are able to enjoy sport and make participation in sporting activity a way of life, and are in the care of fit and proper people, not being exposed to any form of abuse.
Minister Grange was speaking in Parliament recently. The Task Force for Child Athlete Protection is made up of stakeholders from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, PTA, school sports associations, local sport governing bodies, and government ministries and agencies. An island-wide conference will be hosted later this year to bring all the stakeholders together for a national discussion. The National Water Commission, NWC, is urging property owners and occupants to get connected to its new Port Antonio sewage system. The NWC says special conditions are now being offered to facilitate the process. So far, the water company says 460 properties in Port Antonio have been identified and sewer laterals have been installed to the boundaries of these properties under the Port Antonio Water Sewage and Drainage Project. Property owners must now make arrangements to complete necessary on-site activities to complete their connection to the network. And finally, as Japan deals with the loss of lives caused by widespread flooding and landslides, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is expressing sadness and condolences to the government and people of the country. International media outlets are reporting that well over 100 people have died in the floods and landslides triggered by torrential rain in western Japan. In a note to the government of Japan, Prime Minister Holness offered prayer and best wishes during the country's ongoing recovery and restoration efforts. Mr. Holness also reiterated the need for greater collaboration in combating climate change and its effects, and expressed confidence that the people of Japan will respond with a resilience and a sense of community. Mr. Holness also reiterated the need for greater collaboration in combating climate change and its effects, and expressed confidence that the people of Japan will respond with resilience and a sense of community. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
I'm deeply concerned by the number of Jamaicans killed on our roads. Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
Last week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness was kept busy as he played host and chaired the 39th meeting of CARICOM Heads of Government. High points from that meeting are in this edition of Jamaica House Weekly.
Prime Minister assumes 6-month chairmanship of CARICOM, signs 3 agreements with the grouping, and enters partnership pacts with Cuba, Guyana, and Chile. These and so much more are in today's Jamaica House Weekly. Prime Minister Andrew Holness assumed chairmanship of the Caribbean Community on July 1. And between July 4 and 6, he hosted the 39th Conference of the Heads of Government of CARICOM in Montego Bay. Ahead of the meeting's opening, Mr. Holness witnessed the swearing-in of Justice Adrian Saunders as the new president of the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ. Justice Saunders, who has been serving the court since 2005, replaces Sir Dennis Byron, who served for 7 years.
I am fully confident that based on your commendable professional experience and personal attributes, under your stewardship, the court will continue to be a guardian of the rights of the people of the Caribbean, and that you will discharge your functions in this new role with distinction and integrity.
At the conference's opening on Wednesday, Prime Minister Holness laid out the major priorities of his 6-month stewardship of CARICOM. Among them, implementing the Caribbean single market and economy, youth engagement, climate change management, and crime.
With this in mind, we will call upon all member states to summon the necessary political will and determination to ensure that all programs and initiatives are strategically focused and geared towards meeting an ambitious process of reform.
On the margins of the conference, Prime Minister Holness held bilateral talks with Cuban President Miguel Mario Diaz-Canel. The two spoke of deepening relations in health, education, sport, agriculture, disaster management, security, human resource development, and trade.
Jamaica and Cuba are also in the process of finalizing plans for a regional school of arts, which is envisioned to be a primer, pre-university level regional school for the classic and performing arts. This facility will allow our students to transition more easily into undergraduate studies in the arts.
Mr. Holness also met with Guyana's President David Granger. Coming out of those talks, the countries reactivated their Joint Commission Agreement, which was first established in 1995. Security, trade, investment, agriculture and food security are among the major priorities of that agreement. Jamaica's relationship with Chile was also strengthened during CARICOM 39. Bilateral talks led to pledges to follow through with agreements reached in the areas of sport, trade, health, energy, climate change and environmental management. After discussing several issues, Prime Minister Holness and his regional counterparts signed 3 instruments of agreement. Friday's signing of the CARICOM Arrest Warrant Treaty will see regional countries working together to apprehend fugitives. Amendments of the Treaty of Chaguaramas will incorporate the Council of National Security and Law Enforcement as a body to focus on crime and security. And the revised agreement for the establishment of CXC seeks to update the legal structure to meet modern standards, as well as consider requests from other territories to participate in the Examination Council.
We can confidently say that the 39th conference has delivered on the long-awaited promises to our citizens of this region.
Chief among them, an agreement to have all member states facilitate free movement of skilled persons within CARICOM by December 31, 2018. A protocol on contingent rights has also been signed by 6 member states to ensure that families remain together as they move throughout the region. And by August 1, 2018, all member states should adopt clear guidelines on the refusal of entry for CARICOM nationals. As for the implementation of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, plans are in place to have full adoption by July 2019. As such, quarterly meetings will be held to fast-track the process, starting in September. And a special meeting on the CSME will be held this November in Trinidad and Tobago to drive the implementation.
In respect of the CARICOM Review Commission report, the heads agreed that it would be taken into account in the work of the Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on the CSME and at a special meeting of conference in November 2018.
The CARICOM heads also agreed to continue their promotion of disaster management and response mechanisms. Regional security agencies are to increase information and intelligence sharing. The heads of government have also endorsed 6 priorities related to non-communicable diseases for the region to advocate for during the negotiation of the outcome political document. And on the current classification of marijuana as an illicit drug,
we also agreed that each member state, in accordance with its own circumstances, would determine its own pathway to pursue the law reforms necessary as proposed by the Regional Marijuana Commission.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness closed out the island's hosting of the 39th Conference of the CARICOM Heads of Government with a road race. At Saturday's 10K and 5K run walk, the Prime Minister encouraged greater physical activity to lessen the onset of non-communicable diseases.
Just 30 minutes of activity, of exercise, can stave off many of these non-communicable diseases. So I want to endorse the event today. I want to encourage you all and get the message out that Jamaica moves, CARICOM moves.
On Sunday, Mr. Holness, in his capacity as CARICOM chairman, expressed grave concern about violent protests which have erupted in Haiti. While calling for restraint and an end to the violence, Prime Minister Holness said he deplored the loss of life and property as well as damage to infrastructure. He welcomed actions to defuse the situation, which he asserts can only be resolved in an atmosphere of calm. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Let's get a little breeze on this land. All right. Now let's get some bounce in the rhythm. All right. Let's get some fire on our hearts. Now that is what we call all right. Run, come, get some Jamaica.
The lawns of Devon House was once more alive, with the sound of glasses clinking and forks and knives hitting plates. Jamaica's first gastronomy center was playing host to a cultural display of dishes from South America, Africa, and Asia.
The Ministry of Tourism hosted a gastronomic evening recently in observation of UN World Sustainable Gastronomy Day. Gathered were food professionals and a few heads of missions based in Jamaica on the east lawns of Devon House in St. Andrew.
Tourism then embraces gastronomy as a major platform for its development and growth. We have invited our diplomatic partners from all across countries that relate to us to indulge with us in an element of gastronomy diplomacy.
What you have today is an offering, it's called a beef poikikos. It's beef bones, stewing bones with some fatty pieces, so your brisket, your shin, you've got carrots, butternut, pumpkin, and you've got a dumpling submerged into the gravy itself. It's cooked over open fire.
Thailand is just like Jamaica in so many ways. We grow the same fruits and vegetables in Jamaica that are grown in Thailand. Instead of using Scotch bonnet though, they use a hotter like chili pepper. So we have rice noodles, which are flat and have no taste. But when you put it in a dish and you put lots of different spices and chili pepper, then you taste what a dish should taste like. And it's like a one-pot meal.
Very popular, very popular. Like here with the patties. Normally when we organize some party or reception and we serve this could disappear in less than 5 minutes. Yeah?
Present the rundown cocktail.
I enjoyed it. I was a little bit, I was going to say skeptical, but I'd say curious with the addition of the mackerel, but actually it was quite lovely.
The food lovers were also treated to a gastronomic delight as Ministers Olivia Grange and Edmund Bartlett prepared a unique meal with help from culinary experts.
So we're adding the coconut milk. Alright, so we're cooking our first batch. So we're adding in some yam. And a cheese basket. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen.
The Tourism Linkages Network is transforming Jamaica into a gastronomy destination with local flavor and a dash of international spice.
that's your husband there. Him a one of the biggest juggies.
Wait, somebody a scream.
Lord, them a bundle up rice to work and never pay the extortion money.
Who them man there? How would them a do Jackie little daughter?
It's serious times. Speak up for justice and keep your eyes open. When you hear about any crime, report it. Silence brings violence.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
I'm Tony Anlati and I am a victim of cybercrime. It started when my friends and I were in school and we all received a friend request from a weird name. We didn't know who it was at the time, but because we all got the friend request, we figured more likely it was a real person, so everybody accepted this person. Wrong move. So everything was fine in the initial stages, but maybe like a week or two after everybody accepted the friend request, some strange things started to happen. They would send us messages, sometimes individually, or they'd send the same message to everybody just to see what kind of different responses we would have. And it was very weird, to say the least. But then after that, it's like they upped the ante a little bit to start. Well, they started to tell us things that we were doing and places that we were going and people that we were with, and it was just like, okay, do I know you? Well, we became very paranoid. It's sensitive information that this person is telling you, it's places that you never really announce it to people that you're going here. So when you see somebody send you a message to say, oh, you're here with this person and this person, you start to look at your friends now like, it's you, I know you're playing with me. You just talk the truth and let's move on. But it wasn't any of them. When everything happened, at that time we had a lecturer who was a DSP. So we started to get advice from him asking, what to do, and at that point he told us that the best thing to do is stay as safe as possible, and so we started to leave school extra early. But we sort of just took matters into our own hands to try and find the person ourselves. We Googled how to trace IP addresses, and that's how we found out that the person who was doing this was actually a member of the school community, or they would be attached to the school Wi-Fi at the same time that we were at school. Eventually, it stopped because we made an uproar about it in spaces where we suspected the person was. So we began to speak very loudly about it. We let them know that we would be pressing charges and we'd go out with a bag of things. We didn't know who the person was, but we figured more likely that they heard us loud and clear. To this day, we don't have a definitive answer as to who the person was. Yes, we have our suspicions. But I can't really point at somebody to say, you are the person who was doing that. And that's a little scary to me. Looking back now, I think we all would have been much better off and a lot less paranoid if we kept ourselves to ourselves and only added people on social media that you know for a fact are your friends. If somebody doesn't have a profile picture, that's probably not somebody that you want to share your information with. To everybody else, I just say be very careful on social media because things and times have changed and there are some people out there with really malicious intent. So you just have to be very, very careful, be observant, be vigilant.
Jamaica we're free. All children are beautiful, all ladies are fine, all men are hardworking. This is a gold mine. Look at them rivers that rush to the sea, all lush green pine fields and coconut trees. If we have the formula to prosperity, if every Jamaican Jamaica we free. Give me the house. Let's pick up our heroes and heroine. They fought for our freedom, so we can stand and sing. We have a history of doing great things. Yeah, come on Jamaica, let's stand up and win. Oh, we have the formula to prosperity. If every Jamaican work in unity, no matter your color, your race, your creed. It's 56 years now, Jamaica we're free. Oh yeah, Jamaica, Jamaica we love you. Feel the formula, hold the formula, touch the formula. Let's look at our culture and rich heritage. Jamaican music, have the world on a string. In the dance hall, the new style of bling. Yeah, we are Bunty, Beanie, Marley, Shaggy, man shoulder fi fling. Stand up and wave it, wave your flag. Stand up and wave it, wave your flag. Stand up and wave your flag. Come on Jamaica, make we boast and brag. Whoa. Yeah, we have the formula to prosperity. If every Jamaican work in unity, no matter your color, your race, your creed. It's 56 years now, Jamaica we free. Oh, we have the formula to prosperity. If every Jamaican work in unity, no matter your color, your race, your creed. It's 56 years now, Jamaica we free. Oh, stand up and wave it, wave your flag. Stand up and wave it, wave your flag, Lord. Stand up and wave your flag. Come on, Jamaica, make we boast and brag. Oh, we have the formula to prosperity. If every Jamaican work in unity, no matter your color, your race, your creed. It's 56 years now, Jamaica we free. Oh, come on and wave it, make me see you wave it. Come on and wave it, wave your flag. Jump up and wave it, make me see you wave it. Come on, you wave it.
This program and others can be viewed at GIS's YouTube page. You can also visit our website to stay in the know on matters of national importance. To have your voice be heard and engaged with us, connect on all the social media platforms. And of course, join us daily on this station for the latest installment of Jamaica Magazine. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.